Hi guys, joyous Monday. Welcome to hashtag No Filters with me, Cheryl, Norris, Hopkins. 15th of February 2021, and it's number 30. Smaller bites dash decluttering. Guys, thanks for joining, whether it's now, future, past. Oh, look at that. Let me turn that one down over there. And as always, please do share if you find it valuable. YouTube, Facebook, or thejoyfulbodies.co.uk, which currently points to YouTube, but it's there in case social media disappears, and we'll actually be able to show you what's going on and keep you with some tips and some greater ease in your life. As always, please don't believe a word I say. Check in, see what resonates for you, take what does, throw the rest away. So I wanted to share a little bit of what's going on for me, because I always find that the greatest thing to contribute to people is what you were living through, and therefore that can inspire others to find more freedom in their lives, i.e. yours. So decluttering, let's have a little wander with that today and see what we find. A lot of people are feeling a bit, I totally get it, and yet a lot of energy is tied up in clutter on many levels, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or anything else you believe in. So let me share a little bit of what I've been doing, and it may add something to your world as well. So I've noticed I've done a huge amount of digital decluttering the last couple of weeks. And what I mean by that is literally files online, social media, what I follow, what I watch, what I don't watch. So keeping it simple, YouTube. I went through and I just culled about 80% of all the subscriptions I had, turned them off. So I've got a very short list now, so I can see exactly what's coming up, what I want to watch. And even then, I'm very selective within that. So that's the first thing I've kind of culled. I took Facebook off of my secondary device, which I had it on. I never had it on my main phone, but I took it off of there. So now if I want to use it, basically I just have to use the web browser option, and I hardly look at it at all. And when I do, it's like a minute or two. Culled a load of time there. I also did the same for Messenger. But then I have a couple of book groups that I use through that. So I decided to leave that on the spare device. But again, I hardly look at it. So just within those couple of things, Facebook, Messenger, and YouTube, I freed up a lot of space. So, hey, where in your world can you free up some of that for you? Yeah, some of the distractions. Are the groups you belong to, whether it's in WhatsApp or any other social app, a messaging app, are the groups and things that you belong to in that you could just cull out as well? Because although it's easy just to leave, let's say Facebook or anything else, it's kind of cool to clean up your page as well, your own individual feed or the groups you belong to within that. So I belong to loads of groups, the things that I've been interested in, and I just left the groups. Because just because you don't see the clutter doesn't mean it's not there, right? So in many respects, you could just ignore the fact you don't look at groups or various pages on something like Facebook, but your energy is still invested in it somehow, still sort of tied to it. So it's a cool thing to actually just unsubscribe from those. So I did that. That's been really useful as well. When it comes to, I don't really have too many other social platforms that I'm on, to be honest. A little bit of Instagram, but I'm hardly on that. Twitter, I had a Twitter account, haven't used it for ages. Delete, gone. So a really nice kind of like, I found that it feels as if I've got less buzz in my space, just that, less of the pull. And I get less friend invites, which is quite interesting because I'm less active on Facebook. There's less people saying, hey, connect to me, which is quite nice. I don't know about you guys, but when you just, the more people connect to, the more messages you get to connect. So it's never ending. I tell you what else I cleaned up, LinkedIn. So I had, a load of stuff on there for my sort of training and coaching, and the description wasn't really reflecting how I was feeling. Culled it all in terms of sort of the latest job position, and just put a 2-liner with a link to Joyful Bodies. That was it. And again, just massive space got freed up. So guys, where in your world, LinkedIn, as well as your personal social media, can you cull, clean, tidy? Okay, that's my first invitation there. Of course, when it gets to digital on our laptops, there's files, there's old photos, there's stuff on Dropbox or Google Drive. I invite you to do it. And one of the reasons that I really invite you to do it is because, for example, As you may know, I'm helping out cleaning the estate of a relative or somebody very close to me, and so I'm starting to go through their stuff, and I'm culling and culling and culling and culling, and it's going to happen. Somebody's going to have to go through and cull your stuff, and so why not start doing it yourself and seeing what you really want to have in your life, what you're ready to let go of, because it takes your energy, it holds you in that. So that's some digital stuff. So what about some physical stuff? We've talked about it before on a couple of chats. What's going on around your home? I kind of got into the next level of decluttering, and I got into some paperwork. And again, I'm pretty lean, but I still found old recipes, cuttings from magazines. I thought, oh, there'd be useful things to keep hold of, little tips. And I took a folder that was, I don't know, 2 inches thick, took it down to 1 inch thick. Calm. The more you can let go of things, I'm talking about literal stuff at the moment, the less pressure you feel you have on you. We don't realize how much of our energy is tied to things in our life. And I can share from personal experience that even as somebody who's very lean and what I have, that extra layer has really kind of freed up some space in my world. So there's another set of things. You've got old magazines laying around. You have brochures for things, books that you don't need or don't want. I appreciate you may not be able to recycle them in terms of charity shops and things right now, but just getting them ready to go can be a great thing. So there's some kind of practical papery stuff that I've kind of cleared out. What else have I cleared out recently? Oh, obviously the food stuff. So guys, I've been eating kind of continuously since Christmas time, which is unusual for me with the whole fasting thing, but I just hadn't been felt like doing it, so I hadn't. And for the first time in bloody years, I've actually put on some weight at 4 or 5 pounds, which is nothing, but I'm feeling it. Let me see, I've got a message here from lovely Simon. Hi, darling, thanks for joining. So he's deleted his Twitter account as well. I wasn't using it. Not going on to Messenger anymore, but maybe Facebook. Yeah, it could come off maybe saying about a brother and a couple of mates. So his brother and a couple of mates managed without it. Yeah, really should clear it up. Obviously, good old look through Outlook and so on. Yeah, absolutely. You'd be amazed. I can't really tell people, obviously, it comes down to, I'm trying to turn this message off thinking, can't really tell people. It's almost like trying to explain to somebody what it's like to ride a bike and they've never ridden a bike, or they know the idea, but they haven't ridden for ages. You've got to do it to have the experience, right? To know how freeing it is. And the same thing, likewise, I went through Outlook, culled a load of stuff in there. And it really does it's almost like spider webs of our energy gets tied into every message, every folder, every piece of paper. Literally, there's a part of us that's kind of holding on, thinking, oh, I need to pay that attention. So it really does help. And again, because I've been culling so much of this estate that I'm working through, bags and bags of stuff, it's really brought it home for me, what happens to our stuff. So yeah, so some of the kind of administration side, highly recommend it. And we lived without Facebook once upon a time, without Twitter and so on. And I really do think a lot of those social media platforms will possibly disappear and or change as it becomes more apparent and people start to really question about where they put their time and their energy. And with all the things that are going on in the world, I think as part of the control and the censorship and all that stuff, people are going to push and wake up, and yeah, things can fall very quickly. So clean up your own house now. Even if it does disappear, your energy won't be invested in it still. And I started to get clearer, and I think we start to get clear about what we actually value as well when we're less distracted by social media. I was probably somebody who only spent, I don't know, 15 minutes on Facebook a day, if that. YouTube, I could go down the rabbit hole a little bit sometimes. And during last year, I was doing loads of kind of like exploration. I was probably spending 2 hours, 3 hours a day. And now I probably spend 10 minutes on YouTube. Unless I'm following a class or something I'm doing, then I watch the class. Yeah, for sure. But if it's just general flick, 5-10 minutes. It's a lot quieter, a lot more peaceful, a lot less angst. Hardly read any news articles. Um, I went for a stage where I was reading the paper and so on, and I'm like, to be honest, I know what's going on in the world based on looking outside my window when I see people go past, right? I don't need to keep reading what's going on. So, hi Tanya, thanks for joining, darling. Big love to you. Really appreciate it. So yeah, and with the media particularly, it's the same trauma and drama, isn't it? The same like, be careful, something's going to get you. It's depressing, really is. And again, if it's something really that key, you're going to hear somebody talking about it in your environment. You're going to know what's going on. So you might find getting off that media, stop watching the news or whatever. I mean, it's your thing. I'm not telling you what to do. But that constant churning, reading articles, reading newspapers, reading the latest update, watching the latest presentation, news, press conference or whatever. Come on, guys. Maybe you'll have a lot more. You kind of cull that as well. Your choice. Just inviting you to have more ease and freedom. So that's some of the things in terms of, let's say, admin and digital. Food-wise, which is where I was going before I responded to Simon's comment. Yeah, I've put on 4 or 5 pounds, and it's like, for me, that's like, really? I know why. I'm like, actually, what am I doing? Let's cull it. I know I don't need to eat. I know we don't really need to eat. Depending on how much cleaning we've done of the body. There's a show on that every under the Your Life playlist, and it's called What Do You Mean Eating is Optional? A few weeks back. Go check it out. You may find out food is not what you think it is, and energy is not what you think it is. So yeah, onto liquids again. Let the body clean itself, which it will continuously do. And also, although I haven't said explicitly, I think there's a very high chance there could be issues with food availability as the world changes dramatically. And I'm not talking about us all going into mass meltdown in terms of, oh my God, Armageddon and dystopia, although it may look like that's where we're heading. As you may well know from one of the shows I've done of 2021 and beyond, and again, that's in the playlist entitled 2021 and beyond. I talk about what I kind of perceive is coming out, and basically I think everything's going to fall apart on a scale we've never experienced before, because all of us are saying this way of living and working, our world is basically psychotic. It just doesn't work. No one really particularly enjoys living in the world the way it is, or has done pre-pandemic. We've bumbled along and treated ourselves to holidays and things like that. Really, most people haven't really loved their work or loved the constant push rat race, and the constant, anxiety that's in so many people's worlds. But I think all of what we're seeing is basically us waking up and sort of pushing all the crap that's always been there to the surface. So I think every system will fail. Dramatic to say that, but I think it will. Thank you for the and therefore we're going to build some really cool new stuff and have quite an amazing life going forward, but it will be messy in between. So hey, getting used to having a cleaner body will really help if food becomes something that might have a bit of a smaller availability. And of course, hey, why not grow a few bits, guys? Slightly side topic here, but yeah, maybe we'll talk about that maybe on another chat. So that's some of the decluttering there on the physical level in terms of my body. And again, go check out the other show on eating is optional. That will give you way more than I'm just going to give you here. Today, guys, I think I'm just going to go like back. Just a few kind of key things that are in my mind. It might be like a 15-20 minute thing and then I'm done. I'm just going to go with what's present, right? Be real. No point in kind of fluffing it out for anything greater than that. Trying to think, what else have I culled? Work is interesting. So as some of you may know, I do what they call commercial acting and modeling is one of my things. So I appear in adverts online, in print, bit of TV. And because I'm choosing not to take work which requires a test, there's a lot of work I'm not getting. I'm hardly working. And so it's like last year before it became very test driven, there was some work that was requiring a PCR test a lot up front. There was a lot of work I was saying no to because jobs that were being offered were, you know, smaller fees or was requiring us to block out loads of time before the work. And I was kind of trying to push to get things to move a little bit and trying to maybe take, you know, kind of get some of the agents to put me forward for some different things. And then I realized, you know what, Cheryl, maybe it's dying. Maybe it's had its run. 6, 7 years I've played in the modelling acting industry. Maybe it's done. And being willing to let that go. Let me click on a message from Tanya. I love my darling. Oh, so yeah, Tanya's basically saying she'd like to have a no-dig organic garden for veg and fruit in a sunny climate. Yeah. But there's so many cool things, aren't there? Thank you, Tanya. There's so many cool things in terms of how you can grow things now. I mean, with me, my little balcony, yeah, you can hang things, you know, from the ceiling, or even in a house, you can use upturned plastic bottles, or even the bottom of a plastic bottle. You know, cut a bottle in half, and you can start to seed a little sapling in that, and you can easily have little bottles around the house, around the windowsills, that you can grow plants in. Or I think you can get, I've seen people grow stuff of hangers. There's all sorts of things you can do for space saving. So you don't have to dig it. You know, those little bottles can be the containers. If you look on YouTube, there's loads of things of growing without planting, as in digging in the ground. So I'm going to be looking into that as well, because again, I think if you can grow a little bit of fresh stuff at home, if things get a bit tight and sticky, then even if you've got packet stuff available because you've stocked up on a load of packets, at least you have some fresh fruit and veg there as well. So yeah, find the ways, guys. Find the way. You know, just start to look at, literally, if all the shops shut down, or there was a supply food chain issue, or you could only get into a shop if you can prove you've had a jab and you're not planning on having the jab, all that crazy, all a possibility, what would you do? Start thinking about that, guys. Start thinking about how you can provide for yourselves and in your community. You know, you can do shared growing in your community, obviously. So here we are, going off at an angle, but hey, it came up. It's all good. So let me think about what else there is that's been going on in terms of decluttering. Yeah, well, keeping it on the food thing, I was buying bottled water. Before living here, I had a water distiller, which basically you fill it up and it literally evaporates all the crap out. It basically causes the water to condense and evaporate and takes it to boiling point, and then it condenses and comes out and drops into a glass jar. And I bought that, and it's amazing, you know, because you put pure water, and what's left in the container that heats the water up is all the crap that's actually in our water. So I used to use that a lot, and then when we moved here, I stopped using it because I thought it would create too much steam for where I live now. I didn't have the utility room I used to use here, and so I was buying bottled water, but I wasn't happy with that. Now I'm buying lots of plastic, and so I've been really uncomfortable with that. And so I thought I need to find another way. And so I thought, you know what? Let me get the distiller out again. Try it just to see if it does produce as much steam as I thought it did. And you know what? It hasn't produced any steam. So I think it just used to produce steam because where I used to live, it was in a much cooler room. So it was very hot. And therefore, the temperature difference created the steam. Yeah, it's been great. So I've been buying bottled water for like 3 years when I really didn't need to. Doesn't matter. Such is life. We make certain choices. But I went and revisited and thought, let me question that. Let me find an alternative. And now I'm getting like super clean water. And I tell you what the difference is. I was using my bottled water to make some fresh ginger tea. So I was taking fresh ginger, cutting it up, putting it in a, you know, saucepan or whatever with some water, bottled water. And the ginger would kind of start looking really manky by the end of the day. With the distilled water, the ginger is still fresh for like 2 or 3 days later. So bottled drinking water, freshly distilled water, as in from using a distiller that basically causes the water to go to boiling point and then condense into a jar. What can I say? One's way purer than the other. And I'm not obviously adding all the shit to the environment with the plastic as well. So let me see. The Simon's talking about there being allotments available in his area for like £18. Oh my God, that is so amazing. Yeah, you can totally share an allotment. That is so cool. I mean, guys, if you've got a bit of land, you can get hold of some. Or even if you've only got a window box, really might want to start growing some stuff. Seriously, go YouTube it, go look up stuff growing in tiny spaces, growing in my flat, whatever. And if you've got, like, say, Sam saying, allotments, if you can get hold of one, totally cool. I mean, I think it's really cool to grow an allotment. I think it'd be really cool if you can grow it in your home or near your home as well, because you never know how crazy it's going to get. And I say, I think the world's going to be an amazing creation. In 5 years, the world's going to be so damn different in a really positive way. We'll be shocked at what we create and what's available technologically and how we live in community. And I think we're going to have an amazing, say, future. But it's going to be shitty messy on the way, and the control systems will probably get way, way tighter. So you may not be able to get to an allotment, for example. And you may. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen per se, the exact route, because each day, as we might start making choices that work for us more and more, and start building the future we want, and focusing less on the cray, decluttering from the craziness of what's out there and what people are telling us are going to happen in terms of, oh, you're going to be locked down. Oh, you need to be jabbed and blah, blah, blah. You still have choice. And just because something's being reported in media doesn't mean it's truly going to happen. Although often they do seed it to prepare the public for it. But as always, as I say, we're the 99%. So it's only if people comply en masse does it even work. And if you didn't watch the media, you wouldn't even know what's going on, right? So choose what you know is true for you. If it really resonates to have a lot one, go for it. If your community can get involved, amazing. So cool. Yeah. So I've decluttered some of the plastic bottles. Also, I made a change in my supermarket shopping. I heard a few stories about a particular supermarket that I was using, about how they've been treating people recently during the pandemic. I wasn't impressed. I decided I didn't want to support that supermarket anymore. Now, I'm not naive enough to believe that every supermarket or every other chain is perfect. Absolutely not. It was just to be this particular chain. I spend, I don't know, 5-6 grand a year there, or whatever it is. And I suddenly thought, the way they've treated some members of the public, not cool, really unkind. So as I know about it now, I don't want to support it. So, pretty much I've sort of taken my shopping to another couple of supermarkets. I've got a little bit left to finish at that original supermarket. We've got a load of vouchers, fine, I'll use those. And then it's sort of done. And I'm sure there'll be other things that come out from other supermarkets, and I'll have to find an alternative and eventually become more homegrown if need be, or support like the veg box delivery guys, whether it's Riverford or Oddbox or whatever. It's going to move. It's going to move. I know that. But I'm sort of, I guess what I'm really sharing is that not only decluttering physically, but it's also about my value system. And as I'm seeing, this pandemic has really shows some people's values and how they behave, and companies, what they're doing and how they're treating members of the public and vice versa. And so I'm like, as I become more aware of it, as it comes to the surface for us all, one of the ways we vote and one of the ways we have a lot of powers with our money, okay, whilst we still have money, because I know some people are running out money. So that's another way, right? Declutter your expenses. What can you cull? I've culled my TV license as of a few days ago. We don't watch live TV on any channel, on any device, or on BBC iPlayer. So if you don't watch live TV of any channel through any streaming service on any device, and you don't watch it on the iPlayer or watch iPlayer at all, you don't need a TV license. And again, you can check stuff out online. So there's a cool YouTube channel by a guy called Chili John Carney, Jon. And he says about how to basically what you need, what you don't need. And it's even on the TV licensing website. So I've just cancelled that. I'll get half a year's subscription back, which is about 80 quid. But that's £13 a month that I'm not paying, or that I'm not wasting. Tanya's mentioned about the food delivery service. Yeah, Able and Cole. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. You're right. I think I've used them in the past. Able and Cole, Riverford, Oddbox. I'm sure there's others. Obviously, look it up, guys. Yeah, all really good. And it's supporting sort of farmers, or you might have a local farm shop you can use. Again, find what works for you, or you might be able to split a big delivery with a neighbour. So whether it's Able and Cole or something like that, you might be able to get a giant veggie box, split it with a neighbour. That might be a cool way of doing it, get more variety. Obviously, it stays fresher because you're not taking the massive box all to yourself. But as I say, you get the variety. So start to find ways to work with your community, your local neighbourhood, your literal neighbours. Again, maybe it's stuff you can buy in bulk together and share. It's going to be cheaper than you buying it at the local supermarket. I used to, back in the day, shop at Costco because having a limited company, I managed to get a card. And I used to buy masses, as it happens, masses of toilet rolls. But I'd buy the 6-month supply, and it was like half the price of buying them in the supermarket. So I just used to buy bulk buy stuff that I used, but I just went that route. So, guys, maybe you can bulk buy stuff that you can share with neighborhood or with your family or whatever, another household. It can massively reduce your outgoings. So yeah, see what bills you can cull, or things you naturally can cull. That's my front doorbell. Hopefully somebody will get it. And if not, oh well. Yeah, find out if there's other things you can, cull on your expenses you can reduce. Try to think of anything else I've actually culled. Nothing else comes immediately to mind, but some ideas there for you, right? So yeah, so that's some sort of bills, some of the things you're using in your home. I use quite a lot of kind of kind cleaning stuff anyway. But we have a water softener which helps, there's various things we have that we use already. So there's nothing really majorly there that I can think of. Maybe do some repairs. There's a few things we need to just take care of. We've got a couple of little things to paint. Because if you take care of them now, there's going to be less issues going forward, right? So there's that. What else? It's a bit digital, bit of admin, bit of house cluttering, shopping, what you buy and what you don't, bit of your bills, what you're putting in your body. Guys, always worth cleaning that out. What can I say? It's going to be a big thing. What you're reading, what you're viewing social media wise, or media wise. You spend time with, which is probably quite restricted right now. But still, maybe there's people on your phone list, your WhatsApp list, or whatever it is that you have, your contacts, they haven't spoken to in ages. Delete. Cull it. Clothing. I had a pair of favourite socks, or a pair of socks that I particularly liked that had holes in, but they were like my little comfy socks walking around in my home. One of the pairs. Bin. Cull that shit. If I dropped dead tomorrow, it would go straight in the bin. And that was one of the acid tests I think I mentioned a few weeks ago. I said, if you drop dead, what would people keep of yours? If they would get rid of most of it, then why on earth are you holding on to it? Right? If it's really, really something you love and adore, awesome. If it's not, get rid of it. I mean, like I'm wearing this little yellow cardigan. I've worn it on several shows, right? But my body loves it. So I'm like, okay, you want to wear it? Great, wear it. Just want to wear some of the other stuff. Some things I'm keeping because it's seasonal. But when I get to the summer season, if I'm not really feeling it, it's going to go. The more space you create, the more ease you're going to have with the way the world is going to be changing. Also with how you're viewing the world right now, as I say, a lot of energies in our things. Your identity, that's another one. Who you think you are. If you think you're your job, if you think you're a relationship to somebody, if you think you're your age, your skin tone, your whatever, your weight, I don't know. You're none of that. That's just stuff that's you relate to in your life. Let it go. Really, I invite you to start to really look at that. Let it go. I never say I am this. There's things I do, but as we know, they can all be taken away in a moment. So if you identify closely with an activity, a sport, a team, job, and that disappears, or your ability to do those things disappears, you might find that really tough. So let's start cleaning up all your identifications, right? Who you think you are. That's another cool thing as well. So guys, I hope there's something really useful there. I'm going to keep this to 30 minutes, which is where we're at now. Listen to it a few times, share it, create some space, create more freedom, guys. The ride's going to get more and more cray-cray. It is, with a view to creating some really cool stuff, but we're going to have to go through it, and that might be another couple of years, depending on how quickly people wake up and start to question. So enjoy the decluttering, and do it in bite size, Dash. Dash being in The Incredibles, right? If you rush and rush and rush and rush, you miss what's going on. Take the time, slow down, and really look at what you want to keep, what you want to let go of. Love you guys. Thanks so much for joining. That's for now.